So I am here tonight with Eric Allgaier, who is our set designer and technical director for TRU that we just wrapped up last week. And I'm excited to see him again. I haven't seen him since we took furniture back to storage on Monday. So Eric, how you doing since we closed?
Doing good, catching up with work. Yeah, looking forward to the next time we get to do this.
Yeah. So what most people don't know is that this season we have not had a set designer or a technical director for any of our shows until this one. And because this show is much bigger, at least has a much bigger set than the previous shows, I thought it prudent to bring in somebody who actually knows what they're doing. So naturally, I thought about Eric.
Where was that guy?
I should have called him.
Right.
Called Eric.
Couldn't find him, so I called you.
So I called Eric. But the set is stunning, and I'm excited for our audiences to see it, especially since they've suffered through my designs for this season. I'm excited for them to actually see a set that's actually designed by a real artist that actually does set design for a living. Not just me, because, you know, I think, oh, let's put it here, and we try to create it. So
they've been wonderful.
So you've done a lot of work for us over the years. How many years have you worked with Pandora? Do you know?
Oh, you would ask me that question.
I should have prepared you.
I'll guess and say 5, maybe.
I think it's been longer, hasn't it?
Give or take 2 years. I'm so terrible with that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to look at my files.
I know. I look back on all of our seasons. You know, I've been with Pandora for 20 years, and I can remember shows.
Well, the first one was Girlfriend, if that helps you.
Oh, that does help. Okay, maybe that was just 5 years ago. That was
I don't know when that was.
No, the 2017, 2018 season. So yeah, 17, 18, 20. Yeah, 5 years. You were right. Wow. Huh. It feels like you've been around so long.
It just kind of drags on you, doesn't it?
Does it feel like that to you? So Eric, actually, even though this show was big for us, especially big this season, considering that we're doing one-person shows, this set sort of outweighs the fact that we were doing a one-person show, but it calls for a very specific place and time, and in the UN Plaza, where Truman Capote lived, on a very high floor. We aren't sure which floor he lived on. So talk to our audience about how you approached the design, and what inputs gave you the inspiration for what you ultimately designed.
Well, first, as it often does, it starts with our talking about the play and everything from that first meeting. So I try not to go into those first meetings without preconceived notions or anything like that. So I heard it from you first. You spoke about the skyline, and we were talking about how to do that, and suggested projection. So that was a big driving factor. Because we had to project, the set had to be oriented in such a way so that we could make use of the projector, and it had a wide enough angle and all that technical stuff. So I knew that was kind of baked in, that we would have a large window with a skyline. From there, other than, you know, reading the play and seeing what's necessary as far as entrances and exits, then it's going to a lot of research. And because, as you said, it was a very specific place, right? There are photos of that building and those rooms and his room. Most of the ones with him in it didn't help me as much with color, but there were some other ones that had color. So that's about gathering the different elements. And from there, I tend to work from a top view, ground plan, and try to figure out how these things will fit in the space. And the whole time I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that it's being filmed as well. So that made some things a little bit different, a little bit easier, probably easier in most ways, because sight lines were not necessarily an issue, which are always an issue in scenic design, especially in that space, because it has such a wide audience. Sight lines are everywhere. But yeah, so then get the nuts and bolts together. And then the next step is basically, because it's a one-man show in one room, it's all about that furniture and the layout. And that's very much, a collaboration with you and I always try to defer to the director when they're blocking and they want to, arrange the space to make the best use of it.
Yeah. And I'm a director who likes lots of obstacles on stage. Just makes for a more interesting play visually to me.
Right.
It has obstacles that they have to go around. And, oftentimes they represent an obstacle that they're facing too. So, it puts something in their way sometimes. But yeah, so talk about the difference. So let me back up and just say, for those who don't know what a sight line is, it is the line of sight where an audience person could see backstage. And so Eric, as a set designer, tries to design a set so that is minimized, so that an audience person can't see back behind the set or off stage.
But simultaneously can see everything else.
Everything else, yes. And that space is challenging for that. As you mentioned, it's shallow and wide, which makes that challenging. And because it's shallow, that meant that this big projection that we needed to put on the back of the set had to be done from way far away, which we can't do if we play the way that the theater is set out in the space with the seating the way it is from front to back of the stage. So we turned the whole set on its side. You turned the whole set on its side. So then we could put the sight back there so that the projector could project that big image back there.
Right.
Just to give some background. So if they haven't seen the show, now they're going to be like, oh, I can't wait to see that projection. If they have seen the show, they're going to be like, oh, that's cool. That's how they did that. Yes. I hope that's what they say. So you talked about designing a little differently for video. Can you talk a little bit more about that besides the orientation of the set in our space?
Well, probably the first difference I noticed, and one of the biggest ones, is obviously you don't have people in there, but it was about the pre-show experience and what people, I always think about what people see when they walk in, and what is it going to look like? How much lighting's on there? What do they see? And what do we reveal and not reveal at that certain, these certain moments? Because we have the projection and we have the use of blackouts and all these different things, that tools in our tool bag, which we didn't have to use. I keep thinking someone's going to walk in and see this or see that, or they should see this or not see that. And just had to not worry about some of those things. But other than that, it's just knowing where the cameras are, once we sort of nailed that down, that helped. But yeah, in some ways it was, I don't want to say liberating, that's a little bit strong, but there were some things we didn't have to worry about. We didn't have to, do certain things neat and tidy as far as masking, which blocks off some of the backstage area that you were talking about.
Yes, and we worried about it so little that we actually had a lot of clutter. This is insider secrets for anybody who's watched our shows this year. We had lots of clutter down right in front of the front row, which the kids did not pick up, that we didn't bother to clean up until we struck the set.
Yeah.
So now I'm sharing secrets about how tidy we were through the whole process. But that in itself is liberating, because we usually spend the whole last day before we open, sort of cleaning up the house and making sure that there's no clutter in the house, and any extraneous tools or paintbrushes or cans or whatever is not in the house anymore. The house is cleaned up for audience to arrive.
Right.
In a way that is liberating.
Right.
But given the choice, I would rather clean the house all day long and have an audience there than doing it how we're doing it. However liberating, to use your word,
right.
It may be strong. I'd much rather see the audience in person, and I can't wait till that happens again. Although I have to say, I'm very proud of the work that we've done this season and in presenting virtual theater, because we've never done it before. So it has been a learning curve for us. But I'm very, very proud of the work that we've done. And I think we just get better and better at it. And I think we're really going to enjoy this show, not only for your set design, but Jason, I think it's probably the best work he's ever done.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's amazing. And I do wish an audience could have been in there. I would have loved to see them feed off each other, you know, and I mean, just with the few people that happened to be in there, that was great. And I can't wait to get an audience back. I wouldn't blink an eye if you asked me to decide, like, you know, if we could have people back.
Yeah, and I'm really sorry that Jason will miss that immediate adulation feedback from his audience. You know,
right. He can just go to each person's house and watch it with them.
Oh my gosh, that's a great idea. He probably could watch himself that many times.
We'll set up a schedule. Everybody will get on the schedule, and Jason Cooper will show up and bring the popcorn.
That's right. That's right. You know, you mentioned the projection and setting the stage on an angle, playing space on an angle. I know from my personal experience about this show that during this time of COVID, we have usually several different sources for loaning or renting props from. And this time we didn't have some of those sources, which made it very challenging. Well, I know I felt challenged by that. And I know that you and Jill spent a great deal more time actually dealing with that. Can you talk about that for a second?
All day, yeah.
All day, I know. I could go on and on too.
Yes, furniture. I mean, if you remember, I don't remember if it was when I said I would do the show or after I read the script or something. I said furniture.
The first thing you said is furniture. You gotta help me get furniture.
You didn't doubt me. There was no doubt, you know. But I was like, it's going to be a thing, you know. But I didn't know it would be this difficult to get what we want. You know, we can get, you know. I would say we almost got there. We're very close. You know, if we had whatever we wanted, there would be some changes. But
yes,
I think we were good to get together that much furniture that we were able to. But I think I told you I went to at least 17 different places, you know, and trying to find furniture. And I personally only end up finding 2 different things out of 17 different establishments, you know, between thrift stores and peddlers malls and antique stores and all that. But it's so hard to find, especially anything older. You know, if we do a play in the 80s, 90s, or today, it's easy. It's all day. We can find that with no problem. We have our pick. But anything that is not only old, but also nice. You know, that he has money. So you want it to be nice and unique and reflect his personality. So you, what was the word you used?
Eclectic.
Yeah. And but something that had some pizzazz to it, some uniqueness to it that would reflect his personality. So, but that was definitely the challenge, because I don't normally have to shop that much for a show. So that reminds me of one of the days that I did go out to shop for furniture. We had already been to storage, and we had found that couch, that beautiful wood carved couch. Even though I'm not crazy about the fabric that's on it, right? The structure of the couch and the woodwork on it is gorgeous. And I went to a sort of a peddler's mall, little antique store, not a little antique store, it's actually quite big in Clarksville. And I was tootling up and down the aisles, and I happened around the corner and I found this chair that matched the color of the wood on that couch. And we were for a side chair. So that's what I was shopping for, basically, was that side chair. Right. And I found the chair that matched that wood and that carving. And I turned it around to take a picture of it, and it was only $6. Right. And it was in a shade of blue with a tiny pattern on it. So I knew that it would complement and sort of match the couch. So I was very excited about this chair. I took a picture of it and I texted it or Facebook messaged it to you and Jill. And Jill wrote back right away and said, "Oh my gosh, $6, grab it." Well, meantime, I had gone around the corner because I was still shopping for several other things too. And I thought, I'll wait to hear from them to see if they like it.
Well, normally when you go into an antique shop like that, where there's lots and lots of booths,
Right.
some of that stuff has been there since the mall opened, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it just don't sell. It just doesn't move very fast.
Right.
So I didn't worry about it being taken before I got back. And who knows how long it had sat there. Well,
Right.
I did finish my tour around the mall, and then I went back to get that chair because by that time I had heard from Jill. I can't remember if I'd heard from you yet. And I went to that booth, and the chair was gone. Did I tell you the story? So I determined to find if it was still in the store, I was going to find it.
Right.
So I was up and down the aisle seeing if somebody had it. There weren't that many people in the store. And I
Right.
around the corner and along the back wall, I see a guy coming toward me with a cart, and this chair is in the cart. And so I said to him, "Sir, I'm sorry to bother you, but how devoted to that chair are you?" And he said,
Right.
"I don't know. I really like the chair." And I was like, "Here's the thing. I'm doing a show and I'm looking for a side chair. I saw that chair in a booth back there, but I didn't pick it up at the time because I'm still shopping for some other things. I really need to use that chair for my show.
Right.
Show videotapes on Thursday and Friday of this week. I'll actually give you double what you're about to pay for that chair,
Right.
and I'll give it to you on Saturday.
Right.
You'll let me take it now and
Right.
for it. I'll pay for it, and I will also give it to you on Saturday."
Right.
"No, I'm really devoted to this chair."
Insane.
Oh,
Just insane.
so I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I mean, the only thing I can think is that he may have thought, "Oh my gosh, okay, so this is some big antique dealer," because I was dressed nice that day. Some antique dealer who knows the value of this chair, and I'll never see it again.
Right.
That wasn't the case.
It had to be, because
It
you're
had to be
offering
that.
him, he wants a chair, and you're saying, okay, you can have the chair and some money.
And some
Any sane person would say, sure, of course, even if they're
Right.
not trying to help you out, which a decent person should do that anyway. But
right.
yeah, just
I just
crazy.
couldn't believe it. I
Oh,
couldn't believe it. His cart was full of stuff, and that chair was like laying over on top. I don't know, but it taught me a valuable lesson. If you find something in an antique mall, grab it,
yeah,
hold on for dear life. I had no idea how rabid these people are.
yeah,
You told me, you had told me
yes, ravenous, yes,
they were ravenous. That's the word you used.
yeah. At Goodwill, and the Habitat for Humanity Restore, they have these big tags on everything that are taped on, and if you want something, you take the tag up to the register, so
Oh,
you
that's
can.
a
So
better system.
Several times I've grabbed a tag and then like maybe brought it back and stuck it back on if I didn't want it,
Mhm.
but they can't buy it without the tag. So
Oh, that's a much better system.
yeah, it's pretty smart. But those
That would
people
have
are
saved
even
me that
more
day.
crazy because those people come, like, there are people that come there every day, because
Mm-hmm.
Goodwill is the opposite
Right.
and Habitat's the opposite, where they change all the time. The two pieces of furniture I did get were from a store I had already been to,
Ah,
because they turned over 25% of what they had in the store in the week it had been since I went there the first time.
wow.
So there's people that just, they go there all the time, if not,
Yeah.
every couple days, every week, or whenever. And yeah, they just are always on the hunt.
That day I really, you should have been there. I would, and you and Jill should have been there because I would have hugged you all. I thought, I am so glad I don't do set and prop design. It would make me nuts.
Yes.
I was having fun, really, looking until then.
Right.
And then, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this just happened.
Yeah. Those places are great to be in if you don't actually need anything.
Right.
But when you do need something, like I'm just running through frantically, and driving to the next place and running through frantically. And
Right.
yeah.
I do think that guy saw that chair because I turned it to take a picture of it. Otherwise, he might have passed right by that booth and never have seen that chair.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
Had a chair. That's all that matters. And in the video, I just saw the preview of the video. It all that furniture looks like it matches and
Right.
is perfect in that room. It's eclectic, yes. It's not all matchy poo poo, which we didn't
Right.
anyway.
Right.
But it all looks like it belongs together. It looks like
Right.
it's Capote's apartment, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait for people to see your design because I think it's gorgeous. And I'm thinking back. Are you sure Girlfriend was your first show? Because Harbor was before Girlfriend, wasn't it?
Oh no. No, Harbor was at least a couple years later.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm gonna have to look that up because Harbor
Definitely.
was a gorgeous set.
I love that's still one of my all-time favorites in that space.
It's a beautiful set.
I was really happy with the way that turned out.
Mhm. And I'm not always crazy about blues and aquamarines and that kind of color scheme on a set, but
Right.
my God, it was so beautiful. Yeah. And that
Yeah.
site behind it, Jesse did a really beautiful job lighting that show. And yeah, I love that set. It was beautifully dressed, I felt like.
Yeah. That was mostly you.
No, I don't know. I don't remember that, but yeah, I thought that set was great.
So I remember I'd show up after rehearsal, like there's new vases and new lamps and new whatever. And yeah.
It was kind of fun to decorate that because it was more modern.
Right.
Those gay men were pretty wealthy.
Right.
So it was actually easy to find stuff for that set, much easier than this one.
Right.
So it was actually fun to dress that set too.
Right.
It's just like it's like a costume designer will tell an actor, okay, put on all the jewelry that you think you want to have on,
Right.
and all but one piece off, and then it's probably right. That's
Right.
the way about that set too. I kept thinking, I gotta stop putting things on this set.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna get too tacky here soon. Yeah.
The thing I really liked about that set was the level of realism with abstraction in the set,
Mhm.
because, and I sort of always want to do that because it adds a certain level of interest for me. I mean, for me visually, but also me personally. Like the last thing I want to do is like, okay, it's a living room and a kitchen in 1986. Go. And it's like, all right, uh, that's just work at that point.
Mhm.
It's all just functional.
Right.
There's not as much design in there. So, and the fact that they were wealthy, I feel like you can only, with certain budgets and means and all that stuff, you can only go so far. So if you have some things that are implied or a little bit more
Mhm.
abstract, then your mind fills in those gaps with whatever it feels like it should be, because we didn't
Right.
have a full ceiling. I had those beams, and the back wall was just windows.
Yeah.
There was very little wall space, even though we were in a full room.
Right.
So I just feel like the audience's minds fill that out
Yeah.
better than we can do it,
I totally agree. I totally agree. And this
Yeah.
reminded me of that set in a way with those windows.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that set had, for those who didn't see that show and haven't seen that set design, it had beams, diagonal beams that went up into the rafters. Oh, it was such a gorgeous set. I love that set. Yeah. So I can't think of anything else to ask at the moment. You and I have known each other for so long. I could go back to just about any show. And
Oh, I know. We could rehash old times
yeah, yeah.
all evening.
I do. I am now. My mind is just spinning with the chronology of your life with Pandora, though, because I could have sworn Harbor was before Girlfriend.
I
Maybe
know
it was in the
that.
same season. No,
No, I
it couldn't have been in the
definitely
same
know
season.
that for a fact. Yeah.
Okay,
Harbor
all
was,
right. I trust you.
I want to say Harbor was after the Nance. I feel like to me, Harbor was pretty recent, like in the past 2 years or something.
Because you did the Nance.
I did the Nance. Yeah,
The Nance was after Girlfriend.
absolutely. Yeah. I'm saying Girlfriend was my first show.
Oh, Girlfriend was your first. No, I thought Nance was before Girlfriend. No.
No.
Hmm.
Are we Girlfriend, the one starring Laura Ellis?
Oh no, that was
The two lesbians.
yeah. No, Girlfriend was two boys. Um,
Oh, what
the
was that one called?
Notebook. The Breakup
The
Notebook.
Breakup Notebook.
That was your first show. So
Yes. Okay, that
yes,
explains everything.
that explains it all. That's why my mind is reeling. I'm like, girlfriend? Did you design Girlfriend? I thought I designed Girlfriend.
Yeah.
I should have
The
thought.
Breakup Notebook,
no,
which was about
I did it.
girlfriends. So,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, all that beautiful artwork that you had did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
That was
Yes.
a fun show. But yeah, that
The Breakup Notebook.
Breakup Notebook. I think I
Yes.
always call it Girlfriend in my head. I don't know why, but
So
yeah.
you have been with Pandora for longer than 5 years then, because Breakup Notebook, I think, see, I'm so bad at years. I think the Breakup Notebook was like 14, 15 season.
It
So
could be. Yeah.
that would put you with us for like 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to investigate. Breakup Notebook was your first show. All right.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me now. Girlfriend. They were
My bad on
girlfriends.
that
They were girlfriends. I should have thought back to Girlfriend and thought, you designed that? Because it was
Right.
not a it was not a very complex design. I designed it. And Jill and I put it together. Jill and I co-designed it. That's how that worked.
Right.
Jill does set design too. She just doesn't do it very often anymore. Yeah.
Right.
Any other thoughts about TRU before we wrap up here?
Oh gosh.
Anything you particularly loved about working on this show or not working about this show? Audiences should be aware about how much time it takes to do what you do. So fortunately, this season, one of the good things to come out of the pandemic and our work in doing virtual theater is that the other two companies that are in the space this year are not doing in theater videotaping much. They're coming in for a day or two or a week, but they're not coming in and a big set and videotaping. And so we had extra time to put the setup. Normally, we're trying to put this kind of setup starting on a Saturday or Sunday, usually on a Sunday, late evening, open on Thursday or Friday. And that's how quick it has to happen.
Right.
You started the week before that we started technical rehearsals. So you actually had a few days before. It was amazing to come into rehearsal with Jason every day because something new was done. Like one day we came in and suddenly we had the apartment.
Right. The elves come in while you're gone.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was amazing. We had not been in for a couple of days, but we came in and we're like, oh my God, we have an apartment.
Right.
And then we came in like the next day and the apartment was painted.
Right.
And the bookshelves had been stained.
Right.
Because I think I left rehearsal that day with a headache from the smell of that stain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It didn't last long.
I was hoping it would diffuse because I thought about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was about 24 hours, before I got it in there, but or something is a day-ish.
Yeah. But it took me a while to figure out what the smell was. I thought, oh, they must have been cleaning floors or something out in the lobby or something. I couldn't figure out what it was at first. And then I happened to walk down onto the stage to give Jason some kind of direction. And I was near the bookshelf and I was like, oh, that's what I'm smelling. It's the stain on the bookshelf. Yeah. Anyway, I interrupted you about
I had my head right in it while I was staining them. So I was going crazy.
I'm surprised you weren't high.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. So fortunately for Eric, we had a little extra time to put this setup. Because it's very challenging to do, and we don't get Eric very often because of the challenges of how we work with the other theater companies that are in the space. Our tech week begins on Sunday evening after the previous theater closes their show and strikes their set. So usually we don't get the theater space until 7 o'clock on a Sunday night. And our set has to go up and we rehearse and put all the technical elements, the design elements to the show on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then usually we have a little preview audience on Thursday, invited audience. and then we open on Friday. That's how it's been working for the last couple of seasons. So that's really challenging.
Yes, it is.
And
Yeah.
it definitely takes someone who doesn't mind late nights, especially a technical person, a designer, usually has to stay late nights to work, because most of our designers have full-time jobs, or have other things, have kids or whatever. So it's quite challenging.
Right.
And even though all of that I just said, Eric is still going to come back and design a show for us next year, which is astounding and amazing.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm going to pick a special one for you.
I see.
I always pick my most complicated sets for you, it seems.
Oh, I know.
Victor, Victoria, anyone?
Right.
Those 2-story hotels.
After a while, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, why don't I? Oh, I see what's going on.
That's right.
I'll figure it out.
Yes. Well, Eric, it's been great chatting with you, and I am excited for our audience to get to know you a little bit better. And it's always a fun time and privilege for me to get to chat with you, even if it's via video.
Absolutely.
And
I want to thank all
your-
the subscribers that are
Yes.
watching. Thank you for
And-
keeping Pandora around, because it's a great company with a great mission. So,
Thank you for saying so.
and Michael's fantastic. If it wasn't for all that stuff, I wouldn't be here either. I don't do this just because I have to. I do it because I want to. And Michael and the company are part of those reasons, the most part of those reasons. So
Yeah, we have
there are
we
lots
have
of companies I don't work for. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we have such a great team. I think we have a very, very loving and gracious team. We rarely, if ever, I mean, I can't even remember when we've ever disagreed so badly with somebody that
Right.
that it's affected our friendship or our working relationship. In fact, that doesn't happen at all. I can't remember ever a time that happened.
I can't think of any. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's part of our culture, really. It's
Mhm.
more by design than it is by accident. I can
Right.
assure you that the
Right.
people in the room are people that I know are going to do the best work they can, because they're telling a compelling story and one that makes a difference. And I think
Right.
it's a difference. If you're doing something that matters for people, it's going to matter to you. It's not just a job.
Right.
That's the way I feel about it. And
Absolutely.
I'm glad to have you on my team, and I would love to chat with you all night long. I have to get, does Mel ever do any theater? Mel is Eric's wife, and Mel and I did Stephen Foster story together.
Right.
Oh, these many years ago. It was
Mhm.
it was 30 years ago probably that Mel and I worked together at Stephen Foster.
It wasn't 30.
It wasn't.
She was 10.
Then it wasn't. She was in college, so it must have been 20 years ago. Because I started at Foster in 93
Right.
and worked there for 3 years. And then I left for a little while, and I came back and went on the Japan tour with them.
Yeah.
Left again and came back in the early 2000s. So it must have been the early 2000s.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. When we were both in undergrad, and that's where we met. And
Yeah.
I only saw her in the show once.
I
one
think she only
summer,
did
but it
one
would have been
season.
right around then, 2000, 2001, something like that.
Yeah, I bet that was that. And that was probably my last year
Yeah.
at Foster. Yeah, but Mel is very talented. So one of these days, maybe I'll get her on our stage.
She is.
Maybe you can put that little bug in your ear.
She hasn't done theater since then. So
Really?
yeah, I don't think so.
No, she's been raising little humans. So
She has.
yeah.
Yes,
Eric and Mel have 2 little humans that they're raising.
we do.
Awesome kids.
I wonder if they're human sometimes, but yeah,
I think
they're definitely ours.
Yes. All right, sir. Good to chat with you. Thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. Happy to do it.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
All right.